If you've got a problem, it can be helpful to get ideas for how to solve it from lots of different people. Climate change is no different, and getting more people involved might be the key to finding solutions. Allyza Lustig is the Senior Staff Manager of the National Climate Assessment at the U.S. Global Change Research Program. And she joins us now to share how she's bringing more people into the conversation about climate. Thanks for taking the time to be with us today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
So tell me about Art by Climate.
Art by Climate is the first ever call for visual art to be featured in the National Climate Assessment. We put out actually 2 calls for art, one for youth and one for adults, with the goal of increasing the reach and the resonance of the National Climate Assessment and the climate change conversation.
What kind of art? Are we talking like sculpture? Are we talking painting? Are we talking paint by numbers, which is all I would be able to do?
We got an incredible response from the call. We had over 800 submissions from across the country.
Wow.
The art ranges. We have sculpture, we have installation, we have textile, painting, drawing. The youth art is incredible, and also in its printmaking and painting. They're really just so talented. Thematically, the work also really ranges. We have work about wildfire, about glacier melt, extreme events, people grappling with grief and anxiety, and some people feeling hopeful, or at least looking towards a hopeful future. So it's really quite a range.
What made you decide to do this? Like, what inspired this idea?
So this came about when the director of the 5th National Climate Assessment, Alison Crimmins, joined the US GCRP, or the US Global Change Research Program. And she said that she wanted to see more visual art in the National Climate Assessment. I have an informal arts background, and so that really struck a chord with me. And we started to think about what that would really look like. And so we ended up teaming up with folks across the federal government who have interdisciplinary art science background, from NOAA, from FEMA, from the National Portrait Gallery, from the Smithsonian Natural History Museum. And together we kind of came up with this call for art.
So how do you see Earth and space sciences connecting with art? How do you see this intersection working, and why is this important?
I heard someone say once that emotion is the gateway to memory. If you think about a lot of the most striking memories that you have, oftentimes they're emotional ones. And as we're trying to convey the importance and urgency of this moment for climate change, engaging the arts has never been more important, because the arts reminds us of the human nature of this challenge, and it allows us to bridge the intellectual and the data that we have from the sciences with the intellectual and the emotional part that the arts bring, and together it's just extraordinarily powerful.
And are you seeing lots more scientists embracing these ideas and sort of wanting to see their own science and the work they're doing be represented in art?
Yeah, I think so. I think the response has been really exciting. People seem really pleased to have this different take and bring in this different perspective. I will say one thing that I think is really important for our AGU community to think about in the context of art and science and bringing them together is that art is not science communication. And this was a really critical underlying principle that I held on to tightly throughout this. Art is its own way of documenting and observing and interpreting and imagining what the world could be like and what the world is like. And so kind of respecting the 2 disciplines as distinct ways of doing these things, but kind of seeing their combined power as something that really was important and kind of a guiding light in doing this very cross-disciplinary project.
It sounds like a great project. Allyza Lustig, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks again for having me.